Greetings and peace. Continuing Christianity, the trap, moral vagueness, not having a moral exactness. As I've been saying in these different parts, a lot of the Christian churches are not teaching the scriptures circumspectly. That's not their aim. And that leads to many different ignorances. One of those ignorances is understanding the commandments of old, the commandments that Moses gave to the children of Israel. See, a lot of churches will say that's the God of the Old Testament, the God of the Old Covenant. That's the God of the law. We're under grace now. And it's true, we're in a new covenant through the Son of the Most High. Grace and truth came through his Son. But we can still sin, which means God's commandments are still valid. And when we don't understand those commandments, that moral vagueness that we're walking in this world, that puts us in a vulnerable position because this world is not a neutral playground. The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, and he's very specific with what he's trying to do. He works to get us to follow in the same thought that got him kicked out of the heavens, which is rebellion, that I can choose right and wrong for my life. That's my path, right? My truth. That rebellious thought that will lead to rebellious action. And what are those rebellious thoughts and rebellious actions? The breaking of the Great Spirit's commandments. See, when we're not familiar with the commandments, we don't see how the enemy is moving and playing out here. When we study the commandments, then we see, oh, that's why these things are promoted in society. That's why witchcraft and sorcery is promoted to our children. Because the Heavenly Father said anybody that deals with those things is an abomination. See, Satan, the adversary of our souls, he works to accuse us, to get us to directly break any and all of God's commandments. It's important for us to understand that. And so in not being familiar with those commandments, we come up short in many ways, especially with our understanding of what's going on in this world. It's dangerous to be ignorant of the enemy's devices. A soldier is aware. In this battlefield, there's no neutrality, so we have to know what's going on. A big part of that is understanding the commandments, going back and reading through those commandments. The commandments are not grievous. Many of them were upgraded through Christ. But we cannot say that that's old or that's done away with. We can't push that aside. Because it's the Son of the Most High who established those things. Without it, we have a moral vagueness. And that's what we pass on to our children in this crazy world that we're living in. And that leads them to not have a discrimination or that ability to decipher what is clearly right and wrong. We can't assume that people are going to be able to do that. We have to teach. And that's a big part of teaching the scriptures, even as we stand in the new covenant. So it's just something to think about. A lot of these churches are producing people who are morally vague. They don't have a moral exactness. It's just a mental and verbal confession of Christ. But there's not many clear lines on what's right and wrong. And so, as I've been saying in this series, we find ourselves in practices and traditions that are polar opposite of what we're supposed to be doing. Because again, the enemy's not trying to just keep us in the middle. He pulls us to rebellion. He pulls us to hating our Maker. The commandments were given for the love of our Maker. The law is spiritual. We have a problem in our flesh, though. Again, this is not about pointing out people's sin, but a point of education so that we can be in a clear space to move forward in love. That's what it's about. So let me know what you think. Until next time, get wisdom over everything. Peace.